I'm so excited to be partnering with Cheffie on season 11 of the podcast. Cheffie is not just a platform, it's a dining revolution. It transforms the traditional dining model, giving chefs the power to launch virtual restaurants, set their own menus, prices and hours, turning every chef into an entrepreneur. Their platform liberates chefs from the confines of a fixed location, offering them the autonomy to craft their culinary destiny. For foodies, Cheffie is a passport to a world of flavours, delivering diverse cuisines directly to their doorsteps. It's convenience, variety and connection all in one place, just a click away.
Today I'm joined by the cheeky chap that is Calum Harris. The born and bred Londoner took social media by storm in 2019 when he set up his platform, showcasing delicious and easy vegan recipes. He doesn't regard himself as a chef. He's not, due to popular opinion, Jamie Oliver's son, and he's not preachy. He's simply here to show us how to eat healthily in a really fun and accessible way. Calum, you're a busy man. Welcome to Crazy Sexy Boog.
That was a very nice intro.
Well, I mean, it's all true. I mean, I can't believe you're not Jamie Oliver's son.
No, I feel like eventually there will be a case whereby I will have to make him sign an adoption paper for me or something along the lines. Like, I know his son, his actual son, Buddy brought out a book recently and I commented on his post just saying like, oh, your second son's book now. That's very great. I was on a show called Great Cookbook Challenge, which essentially was a cooking show whereby 18 home cooks, they called it amateur cooks per se. I mean, true. But basically, the winner of the cooking show would go on to get a cookbook deal with Penguin. Okay. And it was the first show of its kind to do that. And I was on that. And basically, there's a point in the show where you make your dish and you have to bring it down to these like scary panel of judges. By scary, it's just people in the industry. So you've got what's it called? Georgina Hayden. You had Louise Moore, I believe, Penguin publisher, and basically you had Jimmy Famorera.
Yes.
But basically, they were all judging, and essentially we had this far distance between me and the judges. So basically, I'm walking with Jane, you've been walking me there, and they essentially say, just put your plate down, stand on the marker, and wait for them to give their opinion. And I look to my left, and Janie's on my left, and I basically think, but it feels like I'm being ushered into school. So I just went, hello, I brought my dad with me. And I said that, and basically what I didn't realize is he went upstairs and called me a little bastard for calling me his dad. So I didn't realize that made the cut or anything. But I got told by his producer after that basically they had to go through like a low legal after just to make sure of putting like that in. I think it's the only episode in that series of a little guidance marker just saying cheeky humor.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of great things that you're doing, you do have a new book coming out in January.
I always think there's like a demand for veganuary as like a niche thing. I mean, for me, veganism is a case of a way of life. And the diet that comes with it should be sort of adapted to in like a relaxed way rather than gimmicking it. So what I find is that like if you get people on the start of it and actually build some healthy habits, you might get more people stick with them. So,
but this is called Proper Healthy.
It's called Proper Healthy.
And sort of, obviously I mentioned in the intro, you had the 20-minute vegan that came out, what was it, 2023?
Yeah, May last year.
Okay. So what makes it different sort of on the first book? And also like, I can imagine with a second cookbook, is there that kind of pressure to be like, this needs to be as good?
I think there's always pressure. I think I'm trying not to think about it too deeply.
Yeah.
I think if I overthink it, then I'm like, oh, I might mess it up in terms of whatnot. But I just sat there and thought, if I'm making something that people are going to buy, at the end of the day, like a cookbook is like a sort of art in a way, because like it's like what musicians do, where they put something out there and they hope it gets received. So I think for me, I said to myself, if I'm doing a book, it's got to be something that is different from the first. The first relied on obviously quickness and providing people with that sort of one-stop solution. Whereas like if you wanted like a healthy 20-minute vegan meal, you could go to that book.
Yeah.
This is a lot more about building habits, and it's all checked by a nutritionist as well.
Okay.
The key for me and the kind of distinction between the proper and the healthy is like the healthy fat cell comes in at a point where it's like we have recipes in the book that are proven to be good for your gut, proven to have protein, are packed and protein packed. Then there's meals that are under 600 calories. There's meals that are proven to be great boost for your energy. There's a lot of work that's been put into it. And then the proper part is essentially me taking in the nutritionist advice and going, cool, how can we make that like an easy, accessible meal that like you can actually make? I guess, I've had a lot of fun and stress making this Let's Book. It's definitely like a better version of what I could have made in the first book. And I feel like the recipes themselves are a lot more standing on their own as just good plant-based food. They don't warrant obviously having the comparison from like the meat counterpart. And I've never been about that.
Well, best of luck with it. Yeah, I mean, you've kind of sold me.
It's about like having, the relaxed approach to plant-based eating. I think a lot of the stress comes down to just being told to do it. So if you get told, oh, there's a climate crisis, we need to switch to that plant-based alternative, you sort of stress out and you think, oh, that's a lot. But then also, I can't be bothered. So I'm essentially taking all that information, sort of like the CBA attitude, and going, okay, you know what, you can do it. It's just a case of, having a little think and, play around with food.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of your delicious food, you are one of the very special guests that I get on who sometimes brings me a gift. And you came
I did too.
With
you can tell it's a hot day because the chocolate's going in my fingers. But basically, it is essentially what I've done is just done dark chocolate, made my own pistachio butter, and then put a sort of crunchy element in to swirl in with the pistachio butter.
Oh my God.
So the crunchy element is actually Weetabix.
No.
In the original recipes, they use a thin filo pastry in the Dubai chocolate, and can be quite hard to access. So I just thought, you know what, I've got Weetabix, I'm here to use it, and it does work.
I loved that crunch element.
Okay, thank you.
So I think they need to go into the third book.
They do.
Or are they in the book?
They're not.
I want to sort of go back to your childhood. You were born and raised in Bromley. What was on the table? Who was cooking? Paint the picture.
Do you know what? My mother will kill me every time I say this, but it's true. I would say we grew up a lot on processed food. And that was just because I feel like everything was new and sparkly, like in the era of the 2000s. Childhood was a lot of processed foods, but like in a fun way. Like I remember like my mum treating me to like M&S mac and cheese. We used to have like chicken fingers, and I remember when I was like 2 or 3, and I remember specifically every time I'd finish nursery, my mum would go for the off license, get me a Cadbury's chocolate milk, and I would sit and watch Thomas the Tank Engine. And I would do that as like a saved routine. That probably explains for a lot of my behaviour now.
Aside from the dairy milk and the...
Hang on a minute. Mom, I'm on a podcast. Mom, on the podcast. Yeah? Yeah. You're on the podcast, bud.
I'm keeping that in.
I put do not disturb on for 1 hour.
Back to sort of like your mac and cheese from M&S. Like, what was the dish that kind of defined your childhood? Did she actually cook?
I would say like the dishes she would actually cook. She used to make a really good bolognese. Still does, to be fair. She helps make Christmas dinner with me.
Okay.
And I feel like food was like a good little way of like everyone getting together, and enjoying sort of like the catch ups of like life, I guess.
Then sort of as a child, or kind of like as a young adult, as you're kind of, getting into your teens, was the concept of getting into the food world or doing something in food sort of something that you thought was possible? Were you even interested enough to, want to do something in the food world?
I never thought about it until I went plant-based. And I had the bug of getting into cooking when I was like 2015 time. I think what happened was when I went vegan, there was a lack of inspiration in terms of...
what year was this?
This was like 2018. So I think Bosch had just come out with their first book. And Rachel Emma was doing stuff. Gaz Oakley was doing stuff. Happy Pear were doing stuff. And they're all brilliant people. What happened to me was that I didn't really see like much approachableness in terms of like making meals that were obviously quicker, a lot easier for people to, you know, get on board with. And I think really and truthfully, there weren't many 20-year-olds cooking. I don't know about you, like you probably noticed a surge of like so many young home cooks come out, like especially with like the likes of obviously like Mob Kitchen and things like that. Nowadays, there's so many different people to go to that are young and doing well via social media, and then going into like the cooking sphere or the world through books and TV and whatnot. But essentially, I just thought there was a lack of young presence, and I sort of sat there and thought, you know what, like I thought I'd know what I'm semi-doing. I had like a year of even cooking under my belt. I was like, I'm just going to start making videos. And I made a video, like, first video I made was like before Reels and like TikTok was like proper thing. And I made like a square video and just made my stir fry. I filmed it, didn't even get myself on camera. I was just trying to film the dish.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is going to bang. It's going to like get like viral. And do you know what's going to really help people out? 50 likes, I think. And like, already like a week. And I sort of sat there like, oh, I need to rethink things. So, no, keep going with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing as well. Like, all of this stuff, like, is not an overnight thing. I guess I'm still learning how to do things. And I'm still not yet, I feel like, popped off in terms of, like, a massive surge of things. I mean, granted, I've had some success, but I've not yet had, like, that unmanageable sort of boom, which is really good because it's allowed me to then fine tune what it is I'm making.
Absolutely.
And really focus on the recipes, really focus on who's actually cooking these things, who's actually buying like books, if that makes sense. And
but also though there is an element of success because I mean we're talking in 2024 and you're saying that you became vegan in 2018, but you sort of go full steam ahead in 2019 of your platform. And, you know, that is, in my opinion, I think that is a really quite quick, but a sort of quite a nice pace to kind of gain what you've got so far.
I'm going to say this with like full confidence, a quote unquote cult following, not in terms of like a weird cult and everything like that, but like a community that understands you and what you're trying to do is so much better than having virality. Going viral is like having Wembley Stadium full and a tenth of the audience listening, whereas like a community is like having the Apollo and everyone's there for you.
Yeah.
It may be the same numbers as such, but then eventually you get to a point where you're like, I don't feel seen.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I will say is like, people have brought me to the table, if that makes sense, for free.
I think that actually a lot of people would, first of all, can see that and would agree with what you said, because I don't think people are stupid in the sense of they can see when something is, I hate the word authentic, but they can see when something is real or you're doing something for a real purpose, not just for the likes and to get something viral, to get, you know, well, I can see it with everyone online.
Thank you. I think it's just, you know, important to be yourself.
Totally.
And I learned that pretty early that like if it was gonna work, I could either make it a brand thing, like it's about the meals and it goes more business like, or I make myself quote unquote the brand. And I think that is the method for anyone trying to get into this, because you may not think you have a voice. Trust me, you really do. Like, you just got to put yourself out there, because there's so many people that have sat there from day one and gone, oh, I don't know if I'm meant for this.
Yeah.
And then suddenly 2 years or 3 years go by and they're like, oh my God, I'm being respected. I've got this coming, that coming. Like, this isn't wild. Like, and I've seen it a lot with like, especially like a lot of content creators. Like, they're now like, there's a lot more coming out the woodwork. Like next year, there'll be so many of my peers who have got book deals, and it's nuts because it's like, there was like, it's weird. We're in a boom of like 20s, people in their 20s and like sort of early 30s getting their book deals and getting their shine. And this is all because of a platform for free.
Yeah. It is wild. It's really wild. I'd love to know, like, in 20 years' time, when we look back on all of this, also to see, first of all, who's still kind of relevant and
Yeah, because like, the thing is, I've been doing it for 5 years, yeah. And as much as I think, oh God, like, I was like, I'm still here. Like, I'm still here, full stop. Like, as in, I'm surviving. People still care, which I think is an important thing.
Absolutely.
Well, I hope
I guess what I want to know, because we're talking about sort of, what you've been doing over the past 5 years, but why did you become vegan in the first place?
So I'm a vegan because I was actually not into the whole documentary sphere, not into, holding cardboard signs up in Trafalgar Square and we must stop our planet.
Yeah.
I fair play to the just stop all people, but that's not my bite.
Yeah.
But I was actually at a family barbecue and there was a man there, a family friend, and basically he had a back problem the year before, and now he was into sickness. His back problem had sort of like gone, and it was kind of miraculous. It was kind of like not like the man who could walk again, but like it was like someone who just sort of like needed themselves in like an instant. And I was sort of intrigued. I was like, oh, so what do you do for like gym stuff and like diet? And he was like, oh, I'm plant-based wholly. And I was like, oh, I do toe washers. That's a contraption. That's your question. So basically, he explained all the points. And I think, really and truthfully, I found that conversation to be more beneficial for me than like any sort of study I could find. And for me, I just used that as an opportunity to go, do you know what? I'm going to give it a month. And I asked my family, so like, yeah, I'm going to give this vegan thing a go. I thought, oh, I could give it a month. And if I don't like it, or if I feel like I'm losing myself, I can go back, or I can have a more of a conscious mindset towards plant-based eating. 6 years up and by, I've still been there. I did feel a boost in sort of energy in the sense that I didn't feel as lethargic in the morning. I found that gym recovery, especially. So if I was training, and usually 9 times out of 10, you do get sore muscles off the gym. When I was going plant-based, the recovery time of like sort of muscle fullness was quicker. I mean, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach, but I just found that there was like a lot more benefit to the amount of energy I could output as well. So I just felt a bit more lighter on my feet.
You decide, so you sort of had this catch up with your family friend. You decide there and then, I'm going to try it. Let's see what I'm going to give it a month. How soon did you actually start feeling all these things, or was it kind of gradual over the 4 weeks?
So basically, when I woke up, I was able to climb on walls, and I think that was the moment I thought, this is something.
Where
are you from? So basically,
did you go?
No, I basically eased into it. I believe in the frog and cold water theory. You know, the one where it's like, if you put a frog in boiling water, it's just going to jump out. But if you put it in like tepid water and raise the heat slowly, it's eventually going to cook and die. But so, as a Frenchman,
I know this.
But anyway, I felt like it was going to work for me because of easing into it. And I started with cutting meat and chicken out from, well, meat and chicken. I've cut a beef and chicken for the first day. Then I got rid of dairy that week. And then I weaned from fish.
So what was the hardest thing to eliminate?
Do you know what? I use, and I still miss to this day, like a little poached egg.
Yeah. Why do you think people, not hate on, but why do you think people kind of have a bit of a thing about vegans?
I think it is caused by, I have opinions on this. But my main opinion is telling people what to do. And it's kind of like the antithesis, because I'm like, I want you to make my food. It's plant-based. And you'll like it compared to the meat stuff. But for me, it's like, I'm going off the basis, like, here's a recipe. Make it. If you like it, perfect. Make more. By the way, it is plant-based. And that's my approach to it. Whereas what ended up happening in the sort of gimmickiness of veganism, and people will call this the good old days, I actually call it that sort of the inception, is essentially veganism got popular by relying on that comparison and going that this isn't meat, this isn't fish, this is actually made from plants. But it's not properly made from plants because we took it to a factory and cooked 50 other different ingredients and we made it taste like fish. Yeah, so enjoy it. Yeah. Which is cool, and it's sick because it takes care of that cruelty part and somewhat the environmental part. But on a health basis, it's like you're eating processed food.
You say on your website, and this is, I mentioned this in the intro, but I kind of sort of respected it in a way. You said that you're not a chef, you're a cook. And I think the reason why I respect this is that I do find the word chef is thrown around a lot.
It is. Like, if people go, oh, you're the chef on Instagram, I'm like, am I? And I sort of like have a little, bravado. I'm like, oh, yeah, you think of me as a chef.
Do you think there's a very big difference between a chef and a cook?
100%. I think if you are a cook, you've learnt from home and you cook at home, even if you're making content nowadays, you're cooking at home and you're cooking like sort of in a recipe sort of format, like one day of cooking per day, like per week maybe. If you've ever had to slave away at work in a restaurant, if you've ever like had to, put on events and you actually grafted in terms of like you had to just go balls to the wall, sacrifice your hours and, make fine dining or make dishes in restaurants, I would say you could consider yourself a chef. And for me, as much as I do these events now, as much as I say I do put the work when it comes to like learning, I will always be a home cook because regardless, if I think of what I do as too chefy, then it becomes less approachable. And I genuinely think people will turn off because they think, oh, hang on a minute, but this became annoying because I can't make that anymore. And yeah, I just think, do you know what? Like, it's easy for me to go like that. I've learned from home. That's the way I've been brought up. That's the way I've sort of fine-tuned what it is I've done. I do believe in this day and age, everything's free, so you can teach yourself anything.
What do you love cooking, like for yourself? We've got a friend coming over.
Oh, I have like loads of different like options. For me, if you're sharing, I love doing Mexican. I love tacos. I love having the idea of going, do you know what? We don't need to do a big salad. We just do one main sort of meaty, and I put the air quotes in for the audio listeners. I love a taco platter, having like one main element there, and then just keep working the dips. The dips take what, 20 minutes maybe to do like 3 dips, and they're done. You just leave it there.
Actually, as well, I can imagine tacos, aside from this air quote meat part, it's quite a lot of it is already naturally quite vegan.
Yeah, pretty much.
Your salsa.
A lot of cuisines are naturally vegan. They label themselves with that. Like, it's just like guacamole is vegan, unless some dick put sour cream in it. A lot of these are naturally, like a lot of Indian food is actually vegan. A lot of like Lebanese food is like they don't label it. It's make what it is.
Yeah. When you're out and about, where's some of your favorite restaurants?
Another restaurant called Babala.
I love it, Bowers.
So good. I do like, there's a restaurant called Scully. Have you been to that?
I love Scuddo, and I love him.
He's brilliant, Ramel.
Yeah.
You just let that, it's like being in his kitchen. Like, if you
food, it is wild.
It's wild. Like, he will put, like, he will fuse so many different cuisines together. He's a friendly giant.
Yeah, he's very lovely.
And if you can go, and you're lucky enough to obviously like be able to go, try and book on the bar.
Yes.
Because you actually get to talk to him. Yeah. And he'll like hand the food.
Yeah.
Well, he did for us.
Yeah. And I have a lot of time for him. But yeah, his food is, I mean, it's just like an explosion.
Yeah.
Of just different.
Nah, he's great.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to get back into, London restaurants and like give myself a proper refresher.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. And lots of me in a hole, make me work.
You had just known 2 like outstanding places.
Yeah, they all do.
I'm happy with that. Favorite recipe out of the new book?
Oh,
what do we need to try?
Do you know what? I made it on a BBC Morning Live. It was a gnocchi shepherd's pie.
Cool.
So essentially, you just make the basic shepherd's pie without meat. You do lentils and mushrooms instead.
Yeah.
You use miso, add Marmite, and you make a meaty sort of base. And then instead of mashed potato, gnocchi. But that's the thing. I feel like I forget sometimes that my recipes do actually work.
Yeah.
Because I'm just in a hole, like sort of rotating, and then you sort of forget. Oh crap! Hang on, like. The books work.
Yeah.
This works. Like, when I go on Instagram and I see someone's made a dish, I'm like, oh, that actually looks pretty much what I made. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Okay, so I finished my conversations with a few quick-fire questions. Are you ready?
I usually don't, but we can do. Go.
Don't mind. This is going to be hell to edit. That's really lovely. It's going to be lovely. What is the craziest food you've ever eaten?
Natto bean.
A what?
So it's like, I think it's natto bean. It's like a fermented bean. It's like Japanese, it's something Asian.
Okay.
It's an Asian dish, and it comes in a packet, and essentially it's a bit like tempeh, except the consistency's a bit like a Square's Rice Krispie cake. So there's very marshmallowy and like Freddy, but it tastes really, really fermented. And it's the craziest thing I've eaten.
Is it an acquired taste?
It's an acquired taste, and I'll probably leave it at that in terms of my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
What has been your most memorable meal?
My most memorable meal has been the Christmas of 2022, because that was the first time I was trusted to make Christmas online.
Oh wow.
And I did a Wellington. I let my mum do the crown of turkey, and I did everything else. I did the trimming.
Amazing.
And it's funny, like she trusted me with the Brussels sprouts, and I put like miso and lemon and all this fancy adding, and she was like, just steam them. And I thought, I'm not steaming them, like just give them a bit of love. Like, they've got water in it. Also, veg has water in it. Just fry it off.
Yeah.
Or roast it. Yeah, fine. That was my most memorable.
And did she love the sprouts?
I believe so, yeah.
Perfect. Have you done it again since?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, important question. My favourite snack of all time is a packet of crisps.
Okay.
What is your favourite flavour? Why? I'm judging you on this one.
I know. Okay. The jamon crisps in Spain. All right. Hang on. But Charvid, genuinely, prawn cocktail.
Oh,
I did love prawn cocktail.
no.
Yeah.
No, wait, hold on. Sorry, no. You're a vegan. And
Yeah,
it's like me.
I want to be. Look, if I'm gonna be
Fish and
yes, if I was vegan like for whole my life, I'd probably be boring. Sorry. He's genuine. Prawn cocktail. Right now,
So you're eating the hamon now?
it's vegan, like genuinely. But it's just flavorings.
Okay, fine. Is that the Spanish?
Yeah.
Or something?
Yeah. Okay. No, that's the posh one. No, that the Berry Brown, that one's got those. But Torres, the black truffle ones.
Yeah.
And it's simply roasted black
Yeah. So do you know, those simply roast ones are really nice. Actually.
Yeah.
Okay. What food sums up happiness for you?
I'm guessing you have a lot of guests, by the way, who are just a bit dogs. To me, like I have a nibble bar. So every week there'll be a bar of dark chocolate in the fridge, and I'll break a square off. By the end of the week, it'll be gone.
Non-vegan meal you miss the most?
I'd say steak.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram.
Why?
Because it's about community, and you can see the people who watch your stuff. Not in the sense that I'm looking at everyone's profiles, I'd be weird. But I think it's just a nicer way of, like, you know, seeing your people making your stuff and receiving, like, your content.
And final question, live to eat or eat to live?
Live to eat. Yeah, eat to live would be like eating as a necessity. Yeah. Nah, live to eat. I think you're only here once, and you don't want to spend it, you know, treating food like a chore. But I think a lot of it comes down to learning how to provide for yourself, and cooking isn't like a way of doing that. Like, I would find it a bit weird if, like, not to like pry or anything, but like, I'm single. I would find it weird if I was like with someone who couldn't cook, because I'd just be like, A, I'm not a housewife sister, I'm an author. But B, I feel like it's an essential to learn how to cook, and it's like, it can be used as therapy sometimes. It's like, as a way of like just focusing on just the dish.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I think there's such a good congratulative feel when you make something and someone else tries it and goes, "Oh, that's really good," and you do that.
And that's the thing that will
You do the humble thing. You just go, "Oh, don't mean me." No, this is just an old thing that I make. You know, "Oh, Frank." No, it was only literally just lots of ingredients. Yeah. But so okay.
Oh, Calum, thank you so much. You are the sort of roller coaster of emotions. Wishing you the best of luck with the book.
Yep.
Get the book. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time.
Thank you for listening. If you love what you hear, please subscribe and review. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram @CrazySexyFood. Until next time, bye.